Oh yeah. Yes, sir. How you doing, brother? Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Yeah. Good to see you.
If you can do a mic check for me, please.
Okay. Am I
How are
on?
you today?
Am I on?
Yeah, you can count to 10 if you like.
Oh, okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Can you hear me?
Okay.
No. So
Hello, how are you?
I'm doing great. How are you? Right.
Doing well. I'm gonna try to move this around.
I always feel underdressed when you have to walk up.
Don't start nothing.
Yeah, he always
All
dressed
right, if you
really
would like
good.
to put this
you
in
know?
your pocket on this side here.
On this side?
So,
cool.
what we want you to do, we'll start off.
There you go.
I think we're
And I'll help you
still
in
calling
your
this
seat.
the injustice of the criminal justice system, Pastor Walker? What did you?
Well, no, we're going to use that next month when get Gene Alexander on.
Okay.
But we want to talk about his organization,
Okay.
Okay.
Unheard Voices.
Unheard
Great,
voice.
thank you.
Yeah,
Now,
yeah.
Unheard, which is an organization that deals with what?
Unheard Voices Outreach is an organization that is formed to empower formerly incarcerated persons.
So there's the empowerment of formerly incarcerated. Right. So let's call it that, you know.
Okay, and
to
that's
say-
what, that'd be fine.
To indicate,
Yeah.
Pastor Walker, because when you told me that.
Look, smile. 1, 2, 3. Okay, let me get on this.
Uh-huh. Yeah, and so we be talking about felonism as well.
Huh?
Felonism.
Felonism.
Yes, sir.
Now, what is that?
Thought I was the only one who used that term.
Oh, yeah.
1, 2, 3. Got it.
Thank you.
that?
It's the legal.
What we're going to talk about is the criminal justice system.
Right. So it's all tied
And
in
don't be
mass
confused,
incarceration.
y'all be confused if you're throwing all these different terms.
Yeah. Yeah. So, and I brought a copy of my book too. It's titled "Saving Your Own Life: Choosing the Right Path." It's not
Okay,
always clear.
okay, very good.
Are you going to be in here? Are you going to be in here?
Do you want me to be?
Yeah, if you want.
Take photos?
Yeah.
No, I want, yeah, record it.
That term feminism is necessary because if
You ready for me?
identify practices that discriminate against those who
Okay.
what do you call it? Felonism. It's like racism, but it's felonism.
F-E-L-L-O-W.
F-E-L-O.
N-I-S-M. You know, felonism. It's the legal discrimination against those who have been formerly incarcerated.
Is that, well, see, I was not familiar with that
Right.
term.
So we're redefining what it means to have been inside the criminal justice system.
Sorry.
And so we identify felonism for
I'm
what
being
it
hard
is.
headed.
So there's a lot. There's a
And if you
lot.
could do a
There's a
mic
lot.
check
We're
for
trying to
Okay.
create the language so that we can give
Guys,
ideas.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry.
Need to do a mic check really
See
quick.
if I still know the alphabet. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, K, and them other letters too.
That's fine, thank you.
Okay, now, so this is Rahim.
Here it is.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Rahim.
Pastor KWalker.
There you go.
So, and the topic is.
Alana.
Buford.
Give you the iPad.
Alana.
So I call it, I say
red
understanding
button.
feminism, but if you want to call it
It's-
something criminal justice, it's just understanding feminism.
He'll explain what it is. He'll define it because it's a.
Yeah, we're defining that term.
I picked up on it from Michelle Alexander when she spoke out here at Nashville Baptist. Miracle.
Okay.
Let's call it the criminal justice system
I don't care about that.
and incarceration.
Should have put it on airplane mode.
Okay.
How would that be? I mean, because we're talking about folks, we're talking about the system, right?
Yeah, so it could be mass incarceration and what happens after you enter and leave. Because
Okay.
at the end of the day, we're talking about how this caste system has been set up for those who are returning but cannot really live a full and wholesome life because all of these barriers are in place, from not being able to get jobs, not being
To
able to
my
get
own
housing.
simple mind, let's call it the criminal justice system and incarceration in Tennessee.
That'd be fine.
Can y'all go with that?
We can go with that, and then we'll. Yeah, let's go with that because it's going to segue into
Yeah,
after we.
criminal justice system and incarceration.
Yeah.
How would that be?
That
Yeah.
works for me.
The criminal justice system and incarceration in Tennessee.
Okay.
All right.
All right.
We can do that.
Now, if you can't bring
We can get that in.
federalism or federalism.
Felinism. Oh yeah.
F-E-L-E.
F-E-L-O.
Agree with that word?
Okay, so it's felinism.
felon, F-E-L,
It's
like
like-
a person is a felon.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
Oh, felonism.
Got that ism on the end of it.
feminism. Yes, sir.
Eh,
That's it.
Racism, sexism, nepotism.
Yeah, felon, like a person is a felon.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I thought you were talking about a fellow, F-E-L-L-O-W.
Oh, okay. That
No.
might have been my southern accent,
No,
sort
no,
of.
it was my conception, my hearing of
Right.
that.
Yeah, this is get fall in line what I've talked about throughout the years on your program about the prison system and getting out and stuff like that. That's where I met him at.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
so
what we'll do, we'll simply call it the criminal justice system in Tennessee.
that'll work.
And that's generic, and that can fit anything that we want to talk about. See? And I'm going to introduce you as Rahim Buford,
Yes, sir.
and you as Pastor KWalker.
Yes, sir.
Okay, and so what I'll do, we'll start off with Mr. Rahim Buford and have him to give us some information about his background, et cetera, And I would anticipate you taking about 3 minutes.
Okay. I'll be brief
Mr.
as
Buford,
possible.
now you don't have to be brief.
Okay.
We got 6 minutes.
Okay.
What I'm trying to do is to use the 6 minutes by giving you about 3 or 4 of them, and then have you to do 2 minutes of that. You know, tell who you are.
Yeah.
You see, and then we come back with that second segment. Then we'll start with you with that for 8.
Yeah.
8-minute segment.
Oh, yeah.
And then, but we want to start off with the unknown here. Give Mr. Buford an opportunity to talk about who he is, and especially about your book.
Right.
Let's see if we can get that book placed somewhere,
Somewhere. Okay.
Mr. Buford, so that
All right. That'll work.
let's, Lana, could we get a shot of this? Yeah. Yeah. See.
Okay.
Yeah. Could you secretary
Okay.
get a shot of that? And so and it makes it easy for me to talk about the criminal justice system in Tennessee.
Okay.
See, and then introduce you, Mr. Rahim Buford,
Yes, sir.
as a guest.
Thank you.
And have you give us information about your situation, background, education, and experience, and then that's when you bring all your information in,
Okay.
including your book.
Okay. I'll do that.
Okay, and then you take about 3 minutes of that 6 minutes, and then we'll come to Pastor Walker.
All right.
See, and they already know him.
All right.
But he can give as much information, and then bring in what he would like, and then in your introduction, bring in what you said
Okay.
that you wanted this to be about.
All right.
Okay,
That'll work.
and that way, and I can still be saved.
Yes, sir.
By saying
Yes, sir.
criminal justice system in Tennessee.
Okay.
Yeah, I think.
And so is this? Do we look this way?
No,
or
you
does it
just look at me.
Okay.
Just look at me.
All right. Great.
And don't swing that chair. Try to keep that
Just
chair.
stay
Yes,
where it is.
Yeah, just
Okay.
Stay
This will work.
simple. Okay. And so, Mr. Buford, we're going to start with you. I'll introduce the show. The topic this morning is the criminal justice system in Tennessee. That captures all of whatever the two of you have to talk about, okay? And then our guest is Mr. Rahim Buford. Thank you and welcome to the show this morning. The topic this morning is the I was wondering where I'm going to get a sign. Thank you and welcome to the show this morning. The topic this morning is the criminal justice system in Tennessee, and we're fortunate to have with us to talk about the criminal justice system in Tennessee, Mr. Rahim Buford and Pastor KWalker. And so, Mr. Buford, let's see if we can start this show off this morning by giving you an opportunity to give us some information about your background, your education, and some of your experiences, as well as to say something about the book that you brought with you. And then Pastor Walker will help round this first segment off by giving us some information in reference to his experiences and et cetera, and then we'll be able to move into that second segment. Let's start off with you by talking about your background, education, and some of your experiences, Mr. Buford.
Thank you, Dr. Haney. I'm from Nashville, Tennessee. I was born out south Nashville, moved to East Nashville. Early on in my life, had a lot of issues at home, dysfunctional family, found myself doing some bad things in life. Ended up in the juvenile detention center at 16. I was there for about 6 months. In less than 9 months, I was charged with felony murder. And I ended up pleading guilty to a life and 20 years sentence. And I was caged for 26 years of my life at 7 different prisons throughout the state of Tennessee. I was released June the 25th, 2015. Since then, I enrolled in American Baptist College. I am presently, currently a junior. I work with the Children's Defense Fund Nashville team, and our mission is to disrupt and dismantle the cradle-to-prison pipeline. I founded the Unheard Voices Outreach. Our organization is specifically designed to empower formerly incarcerated persons. And I penned a book titled Save Your Own Life. Choosing the right path is not always clear for troubled youth. I go into the juvenile detention centers every Thursday, and I facilitate critical reading, writing, and dialogue sessions with young youth under the P3 project, which is plugging the pipeline to prison.
Very good. Pastor Walker.
Yes, I'm Pastor Kelvin Walker, born here in Nashville, Tennessee. Been on your show numerous times, and glad to be back here again this morning on your show as well. I'm a military Navy veteran. Also, I'm an ex-offender, served time in the Tennessee State Prison System for various crimes. As a result of my 17-plus years drug addiction, which, of course, didn't end when I was incarcerated because there's just enough drugs in there as it is on the outside, just a little bit more difficult to get. But back in 1986, on August 24th to be exact, God broke that drug addiction in my life, called me directly into ministry. And ever since then, I've been doing ministry, works of ministry in the church, and also advocating more so outside of the pulpit on behalf of people incarcerated in the prison system, people who are homeless, people who are drug addicted. And that's where I met Mr. Rahim Buford out there at River Bend Maximum Security Prison through an organization called New Beginnings. And we formed a relationship out there at the prison. And it's I'm so grateful to see him on this side. Because, I've always talked about Dr. Haney throughout the years of coming on your program about that signal that's beamed from the courtroom through the judicial process all the way to the gates of the prison system. Then when we get there, we drop them off and fail to realize that there is a positive side of incarceration. So we're here with Mr. Buford to actually highlight and show that positive side of incarceration. A very articulate gentleman, very smart, very knowledgeable of what's going on. And he's got out, formed an organization called Unheard Voices. And that's what we want to talk about, because we're talking about helping and empowering ex-offenders once they get out, because there's such a shortage of programs and opportunities for us as ex-offenders when we're out. When you think about it, man, my last conviction was back in the mid-'80s, early 80s, 83 was to be exact. And I can go apply for a job right now today, and my record can prohibit me from getting that job. And, that's sad. When do we stop serving these life sentences? You get 1129. I had one, but it was just part of my sentences. But you can get 1129 today and be branded as a life offender, because for the rest of your life, that felony conviction will follow you. And it's organizations like his that's designed to help empower people, to help them overcome many of the obstacles out there. And I'm anxious to hear him talk more and more about it during your show today.
As a matter of fact, Mr. Buford, let's, over the it's almost, this segment has almost ended. But when we come back, what we want you to do is to start us off by giving us some information in reference to your book, because I think we we showcased it once here, but give us some information about the book and some of the things in reference to your organization so that we might use you as an example this morning of what can be done, because I think that many people are aware of some of the problems that we have with our young people, and I think that you've already indicated that you were one of those problem children at one time, and so something that you might be able to say when we come back for the second segment that will turn some of these young men and young women around, and so that's what we'll do. And so we're going to take our first commercial break, and we'll be back with our audience following this very, very short commercial break.
All right, great. That's an honor to be here. I mean, if it weren't from you, man, I don't think I probably would even have the Unheard Voices outreach. You know, just coming in there and breathing life into us. And
say that, make notice of that too, because I think that I'm aware of when he said the New Beginnings program. I know about that program, and so that's when he got in touch with you dealing with that program, and et cetera. And so he has had a tremendous impact upon your life, and say something about that, you know, and then give him a little press this morning. And let him take about 4 minutes. You take about 4 or 5 minutes, and then let him take the 4 minutes and sort of say something, and then we'll have that 10-minute segment to wrap it up. But I think this is exactly what we want to see. Because every morning you turn on the television. This morning there was 3 young men. Robbed somebody, took somebody's car. You know, and carjacking it. Thank you and welcome back to the second segment of the show for today. We're talking to Mr. Buford and Pastor Walker in reference to the criminal justice system in Tennessee. Mr. Buford, let's see if we can start off this segment by having you to say something about your book and then something about the organization in which you are a part of, and then I think you'll have an opportunity to make some statements in reference to those young men that we were talking about.
Yes, sir. Okay, thank you again, Dr. Haney. But first, before I speak on the book, I just want to speak about it's important to pay homage to those who go into the prisons, like my brother here, Pastor Walker, because had it not been for him, I don't think I have an Unheard Voices outreach, because it was through him that our voices came out into this world. And I don't think we give enough credit to individuals who go in and out of the prisons. Those are some of the